Hello, everyone. This is the first video for the first reading from Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own, which is a remarkable essay that Virginia Woolf, the writer, a great novelist, wrote in the 1920s. This is our first reading. It really is, I guess it's easy to say something great and remarkable, but that's my feeling when I mention this book, and I'm so glad we have the chance to read it together. So this is the first of many videos. The idea is that I'll do a video for every reading. The videos are not meant to replace your reading of the text, by no means. That will not be the way to succeed in this class. The way to succeed in this class will be to concentrate on doing the readings and watch the videos, which I think will help. I am not going to try to be exhaustive and some silly notion of saying everything that's important about the reading. I couldn't do that. And by the way, that would be a very long video. I'll just make a few remarks about the reading, things that I think might help in your reading of it, establishing a little context, and sharing some of my ideas about the reading, which is what I hope that you'll do in your work for this course. I want to show you a picture. This is Cambridge, England, Cambridge University, England, and this is what Woolf, in the first part of this essay, calls Oxbridge. Oxbridge is a mashup of Oxford and Cambridge, the two most important universities, ancient universities. I mean, we're talking universities that were like begun in the 1200s, right? They've been around for so long, at least Oxford. But she calls it Oxbridge because it doesn't matter to her really whether it's Oxford or Cambridge, but it's definitely Cambridge. Um, that is, she has a lot of connections to Cambridge. She didn't go there, as far as I know, no. But her brothers went there. Her husband, Leonard Woolf, went there. Some of her close friends, the novelist E.M. Forster, the economist John Maynard Keynes, went there. And so when she's describing where she is at the beginning of this essay, looking upon the banks of a river, walking on the lawns, she's talking about what they call the backs at Cambridge, the back of the colleges at Cambridge. And she mentions some of the colleges, and it's actually quite important to have this as background. This is King's College. Cambridge University, like Oxford University, is really a kind of an association of semi-independent colleges. Some of the more important colleges, older colleges at Cambridge, are King's College. This is the back of King's College, and the back adjoins the River Cam, which is where we get the word in the town of Cambridge. King's College, Trinity College, St. John's College, Christ's College. These are really colleges that have been around for centuries. And it's important. Look at how magnificent King's is there. That's where she is in the beginning when she's having her thought. And that gravel path is where the beetle scolds her and tells her to get off the lawn. You have to have a certain status at King's College to actually be allowed to walk on the lawn. I've seen it actually as a tourist. You can visit the college and you can walk along the backs, but you have to be a member of the college, and I think a senior member of the college, to actually walk on the grass. So this is probably where Virginia Woolf was scolded by the beetle to because she's not a member of the college, to walk on the gravel. And it was nearby Trinity College, I believe, the so-called Wren Library, Christopher Wren being the architect, where she's denied admittance. She has this, if you'll remember, she has this idea that she might want to see the original manuscript of a couple of works that she's thinking about by Milton and Thackeray, which I think is not a King's but a Trinity. And she's denied entrance because she's a woman. Women need special permission to enter. This is actually quite important uh, for the first part of the essay because she ends up at a women's college, which is no slouch. I think it's Newnham College. Cambridge. It's no slouch. It's a beautiful place. But one of her big points is, and she calls it a red brick college. Now, red brick college at Cambridge means a newer college, not one of the august and rich older colleges at Cambridge. It's a beautiful place, but it was built in the 1800s in the 19th century, which means that it was a little, well, it's a gorgeous place. But one of her points is, oh, Emma Thompson, it doesn't have the wealth of a King's College. It doesn't have the wealth of the older colleges. And that's a very important point, as we'll see. But she's walking around in the beginning of A Room of One's Own, and she's surrounded by this venerable educational institution, this ancient University of Cambridge. And I think that's quite important for the kind of points that she wants to make eventually about what. If we look at the actual checks, and these are, again, it's just notes, I won't go through them all. She's been tasked by basically Newnham College, appears in a fictional, semi-fictional way, to give a series of talks about women in fiction, and she can't figure out what to say. And she's wandering around Cambridge by herself, trying to figure out what to write about. And this is how we get the title of the book. She trying to think of something to say about women in fiction, about women or fiction, about women in fiction, and all she can think is her first thought here, which is, all I could do is to offer you an opinion upon one minor point. A woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction. Uh, and in an interesting way, I mean, the first part talks about a lot of different things, but that is the theme. She's supposed to talk about women in fiction, but what she ends up being more interested in are the material conditions, the economic conditions that have to be in place for a woman, anybody, including women, to be able to write. You need a place to write that's quiet and you have control over, and you need money so you can support yourself during the time that you need to write. Um, she has some very interesting things to say later on about her own life and how important money is to her being able to be a writer. So there's a lot of interesting things said about poetry, and a lot of it's about food. And she goes to a luncheon in which all the stops are pulled. I mean, all the food is incredible. The wines, the surroundings are just incredible. And presumably that's at one of the older male, richer colleges. And then she ends up going to dinner at Newnham, and all she can think of is the contrast. I mean, the food's not horrible, but it's not really good. The accommodations are very Spartan relative to where she's had lunch, which is at one of the richer male colleges. Um, and she's thinking about the. She's kind of, I think, giving us an explanation for, as she said, what experiences, what was her train of thought leading up to her claim of the importance of having a room of one's own and money to write fiction. Part of it is the poverty of women that prevents them from doing that. That is, writing fiction is this noble thing of the mind, but you need to have the support of the humble body um, to do it. She says the human frame being what it is, heart, body, and brain all mixed together and not contained in separate compartments as they will be no doubt in another million years. A good dinner is of great importance to good talk. One cannot think well, love well, sleep well if one has not dined well. And what she's saying is that, yeah, there's this women's college at Cambridge, but it doesn't have the kind of material support that the men's colleges have. It's at a disadvantage, and that disadvantage is financial. Uh, and she says, "Well, why is this college so poor compared to the other ones? What were the women? What were our grandmothers doing if they didn't have money to give to make these colleges richer and more to promote learning more as a result?" And she, points out something interesting, and that is, until fairly recently, women weren't even allowed to, if they're married at least, to even keep the money that they did earn. There was no incentive. Everything was so stacked against them that, of course, they were poor. And many of them spent their lives like having children and raising children. There was no time to make money. There was really no time for much of anything else. So, really, the fact that they did as well as they did, establishing, I think there were two women's colleges that were established around 1870 at Cambridge. Uh, so, we get a kind of a notion of where she's going. I mean, this book will be about fiction and the particular phenomenon of women writing fiction, which goes back pretty far in modern history. But a lot of it will be about what it's like to be a woman and the difficulties and obstacles that are put in front of women who want to do something like become novelists.